Oh, I can't stand complainers. In itself, that's kind of like a complaint, but you can tell a real big difference between individuals who, when they're ranting or they're complaining about something, they're coming at it from a very humorous tone, right? They're really coming from a place of trying to add value still. They're really making light of a tough situation, or they're bringing humor to a controversial, topic. There's a lot of value in that. And the reason is that complaining, nagging, or getting offended is an ugly, ugly trait. It's something that, socially speaking, it drains people. People have that sensation of like, oh my God, like not another minute with this person, right? And I think what's really happening is that with these individuals, they have a really low emotional frame, right? They have a lot of depressed emotions, maybe a lot of angsty kind of emotions, or they have really negative worldviews, or, they're feeding their brain with really negative information all the time. And what's really happening is that, socially speaking, you're supposed to really kind of be at a more like level-headed, logical kind of mind frame, right? One where you can, come at things with some humor, right? A little bit more lightheartedness. That's what's attractive. That's really something that, I think a lot of people enjoy. But what happens is, if you're living down here and you're constantly trying to be up here, you'll find yourself taking advantage of, hot topics, or if someone says something even like humorous and you're like, how dare you say that? How dare you say that? It's kind of coming from a place of like, I'm trying to validate how I live. Acknowledge the fact that I'm actually down here. It's like an excuse to behave poorly. And, if that's where your home is, if you're spending a lot of your time in that space, then you're going to probably find yourself being offended often. And I'm not trying to discredit people's suffering. I know people complain or they might need to rant about things, but try to do so in kind of a lighthearted way, right? One in which other people can find funny about the issue. I think there's a lot of value to that socially. This is my food for thought today. Just a little topic that kind of came up that I've been noticing, and I wanted to kind of bring some light as to why it's happening. I think one of the first things you can do to fix this sort of issue is control the input you feed your brain with. If you're looking at negative information, if you're kind of looking for negativity all the time, you're really just putting negative shit in your brain. I think one of the most beneficial things a person can do is to stop watching the news. And I know there's a value to being informed and to keeping up to date with stuff, but really examine how you're feeling. Really look at what your worldview is. Is it a negative thing? Do you have, negative ideas? Are you afraid about, what's out there? Do you think everyone's out to get you, sort of thing like that? If you're finding your emotions and thoughts are like this, really examine the input that you're putting in. One of the reasons I constantly feed my brain with new personal development and even old classic personal development information is, even psychology information, is because what I'm really trying to do is to train my brain to have a worldview of learning to help people. And even though I know a lot of this stuff and it's just a refresher, it's better than that negativity that I usually see on like social media or the news, or even on radio sometimes at that. Another thing you can do as well is and you'll see this with individuals, is that people who feed their brain with positive information, say you read a lot of business material, right? A lot of different how to make money information, that stuff. You're going to now spot more opportunities. The world is going to look like you have a lot more, possibilities for financial freedom, or, to increase your, financial gain. Or if you start reading a lot about dating psychology, you're going to start to see how there's patterns in dating behavior, and if you understand these patterns, and if you study communication, you'll know how to effectively communicate with another person, right? And it's not as complex or as crazy. The input that you give your brain will allow you to really start to get the view of the world that you're hoping to get. And so I guess my message now is that if you find yourself being really offended or nagging or complaining, try to feed your brain with a little bit more positive information, right? Or at least more valuable information in terms of, it's productive. It benefits you. It makes you feel good. Anything that's making you feel bad with stuff, it's not going to be more value adding. It's not going to make your, emotional habits any better. It's just going to, kind of taint how you view the world. And you're probably just going to exhaust the people around you. So, this would be my advice to anyone who finds themselves getting, complaining, being offended, or nagging. And here's a great point as well. If you find yourself, wanting more sex in a relationship, or, wanting your partner to take you on more dates, you don't nag the person, you inspire the person to take action, right? There's nothing more sexy than, have sex with me. Let me do the cream. Let me do that thing. That's a really unattractive trait, and it's something that, you don't want to force someone into that. There's nothing cool or sexy about doing that. Rather, you want to inspire your partner to have more sex with you. In the same regards, if you're complaining like, we don't do anything. You never take me out. We never do anything. All we do is this. If you're coming from that naggy kind of frame, you don't expect the person to want to take you on more dates, right? It doesn't work that way. Inspire action in others. Bring that positivity to other people's lives. Add value. You've heard me say this before. But that's the message I have for you. So, if you like my content, please subscribe. Share this if you can, and like the video, all that good stuff. And feel free to send me a message and let me know what you want me to talk about in future videos. Talk to you later, guys.